Hey guys, welcome to Airstream Beginner Basics Bootcamp Edition. I'm Evan, and in this week's video, we're going to be going over how do you buy an Airstream? Did you just spend your entire life savings on a brand new Airstream? Dropped $100,000? How do you even buy an Airstream? How often do we gotta service these things? Are you scared to death that you're about to break it? Are you wondering what's the difference between payload and tongue weight, and does it even matter? How do I get insurance on this? Do I need total replacement, or should I just go with Geico? Do we drain the black tank first or the gray tank first? How do you even dump this thing? What is a black tank flush? What are those little pods we put down the toilet, and do they even make a difference? Do we really need a hitch lock? There's like 10 different Facebook groups. Which one do I even join? What do we need to buy immediately just so we can go camping? If you found yourself answering yes to any of those questions, this new series is for you. Welcome to Airstream Beginner Basics Bootcamp, where I'm gonna go over all the tips and tricks that I've learned in the last year and a half of owning a brand new Airstream, and I'm gonna give it to you straight, because I've got the whole book of secrets right here, and I'm ready to divulge all of them to you. And with that being said, welcome to Airstream Beginner Basic Bootcamp. I'm your host, Evan, with Tilly in Tacoma, and we hope to see you out in your Airstream real soon. Hey guys, welcome back. Let's get into bootcamp. On today's episode, we're going to be going over how to buy an Airstream. As simple as that task may be to some of you, there's a lot of us that just have no idea how to do this. So in this video, I want to give you 4 easy steps on how to buy an Airstream. Prepare is step number 1. Even before you think that you want to buy an Airstream or you think it's possible, you need to sit down with you or your partner or yourself, whatever, and you need to prepare for what's about to happen. Because buying an Airstream is a big investment. So step 1 is prepare. So in this stage of the process, you need to be looking at your finances. How much of an Airstream can you afford? Airstreams run from, I'd say, $50,000 to about $200,000. So there's a pretty big, wide range of costs associated with Airstreams, not to mention the maintenance, the upkeep, add-ons, if you wanted to add solar or batteries. You need to first look at your finances and see what you can actually afford. Next step in the prepare process, where are we going to store this new beauty? Airstreams are rather large. They can range from 16 foot to over 30 foot, so you need to find where you're going to store. The next thing in this step is, what is our tow vehicle? Do we even have a tow vehicle? If you were like us, we did not actually have a truck to pull the Airstream the day we bought the Airstream, and thus when we left the dealership, we went straight to Toyota and bought a new Tacoma in the same day. Let's talk about what size of an Airstream you want. So we've talked about finances, your storage. Now, what size of Airstream do you want? And sometimes it is as easy as, what do I want for the day? Or it's dictated by what can you afford. So usually the finances and what size Airstream you want go hand in hand. At the time that we bought our Airstream, we initially was wanting a 16-foot base camp. Once I went and toured the 16-foot base camp, my head nearly hits the ceiling, so that didn't work out too well. And I think it was only about $10,000 more at the time to go up to a 20-footer, and my head didn't touch the ceiling in a 20-footer, so we went with a 20-footer. So again, what size of Airstream you want is purely on what you can afford and what what it was a necessity for me. Mine was standing up and not hitting my head. Another thing to think about in this prepare stage is, how are we going to use the camper? Are you looking to buy, like a weekender camper? Are you looking for a camper that would go off-road? Are you looking for one to take in the national parks, mostly state park camping? All of that really does dictate what type of Airstream you will be able to get. I see a lot of people, buying 30-footers or, 28s, and they're trying to get into national parks, and a lot of national parks have 20-foot max cutoffs. I think there's some that may allow, bigger RVs, but if you've been to a national park, they're pretty hard to navigate as it is with a small trailer. I can't imagine going up to, say, a 30+ and trying to get into those spots. So again, you need to decide how you're going to use the Airstream before you even show up to the dealership. So step 2 in this 4-part buying process is research. So hopefully after you've prepared for what kind of Airstream you want, what your finances can afford, let's move into the research piece and let's start actually gathering some data so that you can go to the dealership and actually make an informed decision and maybe not be talked into something that you don't need. So hopefully you have figured out what size of rig you would genuinely want. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect because we went to the dealership thinking we were going to buy a 16-foot and we walked out the door with a 20-foot. During your research step, you need to decide what tow vehicle you have and research how much your tow vehicle can actually pull. This is going to be a step that a lot of people, I think, wait to the last minute to do, and then you buy a $100,000 purchase, and then you learn that your truck can't pull what you just bought. And there's really not a return policy once you walk out the door and sign your contracts for an Airstream. So two things with tow vehicles and the weights and how much they can carry. So towing capacity is a max of what the vehicle can safely pull. So think of that's the size of the trailer that you could actually go up to. So if the Toyota Tacoma can pull 6,600 pounds, 6,600 pounds is the max amount that a trailer can weigh, or whatever you're towing, it can pull. However, you also need to keep in mind the payload. The payload is how much the truck can actually carry. So if you think in terms of carry, once you put the hitch on the truck is now carrying that hitch weight. So that also plays a major fact in determining what type of Airstream you can have based on the tow vehicle you also have. Because you never want to exceed either the towing capacity, and you don't want to exceed the towing payload. Another thing when you're in your research period is determining how many people are going to be using the camper. Is it just going to be you and your partner? Is it just going to be you and the kids? Do you have grandkids? You know, are we talking 2? Are we talking 4? All of this really does matter on selecting your Airstream because, you know, most only come with 2 beds, or, you know, you have a pull-out. But you need to know where the heads will lie. Knowing how that you're going to use the trailer will help you select what type of batteries you need, whether you need additional solar panels, whether you need solar panels at all. To quickly wrap up the research section, we need to know what size of rig we're going to buy, how many people do we think are going to be in this camper at one time, what type of camping are we doing? Are we going to state parks? Do we need batteries? Are we going to be going off-grid? How far are we going to be pulling it? You need to know all those steps before ever moving on to the next step. Next step is shop. So going shopping for your new Airstream. This, I would say, is the most anxious part and also the funnest part. One, if you've ever bought a new car before, completely relate to what this process is going to be like. And just to give you some personal experience, we went total of 2 different times to the Airstream dealership after we had done our preparations, after we did our research. We then went to the dealership to get a feel of it. And everything was a very positive, a pleasant experience. And yeah, let's get into my key points for shopping for your Airstream. So my one key tip here in the shopping category and the shopping step of this video is find someone on the inside and start working with them before you ever even go to the dealership. And we were in complete luck, I guess, because I've worked with many dealerships and many salespeople over the years. I also have an automotive sales background, so I speak a little bit of the language, but I also know good salespeople when I see them. Quickly did a browse on the DFW Airstream dealership. That's the dealership we had bought our Airstream from. We were local. I came across the profile of a sweet woman named Michaela Evans. My name is Evan. Her last name's Evans. So I don't know. I just felt like the universe was kind of pointing us in that direction. I believe it was a Sunday night. And this was before we had ever even been to a dealership to look at the Airstreams. I just shot her a message and I said, hey, I'm interested. They actually had 16s and 20-foot showing that they had them, on the lot. Shot her a message, must have been 10 p.m. and just said I was interested. And I believe literally within 2 minutes, she replied back and was like, hey, so friendly. She wanted us to come see them, come sit in them, decide, no pressure at all. I just thought, okay, this is going to be a really positive experience. And the fact that she responded within 2 minutes on a Sunday at 10 p.m. was showing me she's dedicated to helping us. So now that we had located our insider source at the dealership, we were able to get the ball rolling. So now let's go through all of my tips and tricks in our section of shopping. We've located the salesperson, check. Now we need to see what's available. So again, this is kind of like all of the things you do before you go to the dealership. Let's see, what's available on the lot. I had all this confirmed with Michaela before I ever stepped foot in the dealership. That way I wasn't wasting her time, she wasn't wasting my time, and then once I showed up there, I could actually sit and feel and see what was actually available. So at this time, we had found a brand new 2023. This is now 2022 summer. So it was a model that was completely brand new in the following year. And you'll want to check to see if there's any models that are still on the showroom floor from the previous year. I do find that's pretty common. I think in our scenario with COVID being in a play, I think everything that was becoming available was soon being sold, which was communicated to us from Michaela saying like, hey, like if you want something, we need to act fast just because the inventory's low. Was completely the case in our scenario. However, there was a 2022 model that was available. However, we wanted the upgrades that came with the 2023. So we eventually went with the 2023. But always check with your salesperson to see what the current model is, if there's another model planned to come out in the next, couple months. That way you can kind of get the best bang for your buck. So once we met Michaela at the dealership, which again, I mean, we're not sponsored by Michaela. I had no idea who Michaela even was before we bought the Airstream from her. This was, nearly 2.5 years ago. I cannot talk highly enough about her as a person, as a sales associate. Like she gave it to us all, and she was very loyal, and she was very nice. And I don't know, we just felt like we could trust her. And I don't find like those qualities exist with a lot of salespeople. So shout out to Michaela. We will link all of her information here. You should definitely check her out. I will never buy another Airstream from another person. So she feels like family to us. She feels like our friend. She is our friend. Yeah, so like, thanks so much, Michaela, for helping us. Like, go support Michaela. All her information is here. Yeah, so if you're in the DFW area and you want to buy an Airstream, I highly recommend you checking out Michaela Evans at Airstream DFW. Their dealership is 5 stars. Their service is amazing. We'll talk about that in a couple more segments. So let's get back to the shopping part of the Airstream buying experience. So once we met Michaela, she gave us a complete overview. She was giving us multiple tours of what Airstreams, we might be considering. She also went through kind of like all the facts that I was giving you in the prepared research topics. She was seeing what we could kind of afford. She was seeing like what tow vehicle we had. Like she was asking all of the right questions, which luckily like we had already very much researched. And yeah, it just made the buying experience a lot easier and also like kind of more organic. She was very persistent in knowing that we sit and we lay and we use the facilities that are actually in the Airstream, like use the stove, like being very hands-on while she was like away. So like she wasn't, completely like shadowing over us, or she was like, hey, like, go through, look at what you want. And that's what you really want, because like when you take the Airstream out, Michaela doesn't come with us, right? So like you want to see how you can best use it with you and your partner, whoever you're traveling with. And I'm really glad that we had the time to do that. So like I said, I initially wanted the 16-foot base camp. Michaela really did talk us into upgrading to the 20-foot. And again, the price justification was definitely there. It wasn't a lot of money to upgrade to the 20-foot. We just thought we wanted the smallest trailer possible because we've never towed anything before. So we just thought, okay, well, the smaller, the better. And we were kind of explaining like actually the 20-foot may tow a little bit better than the 16-foot. And honestly, once I was in the 16-foot, I was hitting my head on the ceiling, and why am I going to spend $50,000 if I hit my head on the ceiling? So what's another $10,000 for comfort? And to me, that was worth it. When you're at the dealership, you're going to want to make sure that you either have the notes open on your phone or you actually bring a notebook with your questions. That's what I would suggest, so you don't forget things. You're walking into a brand new world of learning that honestly you can only prepare for so much. If you're lucky and you have a really great sales associate like we did with Michaela, she gave us the time, she gave us the leeway to actually ask questions, record her, like it's all the whole 9 yards. But I know that's not the process at every dealership you go to, and I mean we're really lucky that that was our process. But have a notebook, write notes, take videos, because you're gonna forget this, because in the next steps, you just quickly, you can only absorb so much information, even though you want to absorb it all. While you're there in the shopping experience, go look at their service center. Like, take a peek around there. Meet the service advisor. Meet the managers of that Airstream dealership if you're going to be having it serviced there, because that's really important. Like, they are going to break. That's notorious. Like, something's going to go wrong. You're going to have to bring it back. Like, one of the things that I want to give as a tip is, don't think when you pull off of the lot floor that your Airstream will be squeaky, brand new, and look pristine forever. That's not the use case of buying a travel trailer. Buying a travel trailer, you want to travel with it. Just like in your car, you're going 80, 70 miles down the road and you're gonna hit a bird, there's gonna be bugs on it. Like, there's constant maintenance due with a travel trailer, just like a car. So you wanna make sure that wherever you're buying it from can help you in that process of servicing it as well. Another thing, just like with buying a car, you want to shop multiple dealers. However, this becomes a little tricky because most states don't have a ton of Airstream dealerships. I'm sure you're finding that out as you're in the shopping experience. However, we were extremely lucky because DFW, Vogue DFW Airstream dealership in Fort Worth is a highly, highly rated Airstream dealer. And we felt really blessed to only live about 30 miles from there. So we knew, like, if anything ever, went haywire with the Airstream or, annual service, we could easily just, tow it back there and it would be taken care of. And their service center is really, really great. But again, there's not many Airstream dealerships, but you can do your research. I'm not sure that the price matching game would work in terms of like, hey, Colorado Airstream has this one for $59,000, you're offering it for $64,000, will you price match it? I don't know if that will work in the Airstream world. Something's telling me probably not. I think it's still, when we bought our Airstream, there was just such limited availability on the lot that I remember when we were buying ours, multiple people were also trying to take it off the lot. And it wasn't one of those situations where like our salesperson was, trying to rush us to make a decision. Like, we physically seen people trying to take it. So I don't know if the market has changed over the last, couple years. I would imagine it probably has. So again, just like shop multiple dealers, shop multiple deals, and make the best deal for you. And my last piece of advice in the shopping category is see what your salesperson can offer you. Michaela was excellent in this category. You're spending a lot of money. You're making a lifelong investment. Are there any specials? At the time we bought ours, there was like a new campers bundle. It came with like a sewer hose and like the electrical dog bone to connect to 110 power and RV toilet paper. They also gave us, I think, a $50 or $100 gift card to use in their store. So like, that sweetens the deal when you're about to make a major purchase and they're willing to, throw in some freebies. That does, in my eyes, it does make me like, okay, like, this is great. I'm getting something more for quote unquote less. Yeah, and then also Michaela was able to like just, give us some little like, just cute like keychains or stickers and like a gift. And I don't know, I think that's going above and beyond of what like maybe the service industry standard is for buying an Airstream. And yeah, we can't talk highly enough about Michaela. Okay guys, we have covered the prepare section, we've covered the research section, and we've covered now the shop section. So our last section of our nice little boot camp of how to buy an Airstream is take home. So as easy, I guess, as some people may think it is to just go, you buy your Airstream, you sign on the dotted line, and you take it home. I think take home was our most anxious part because we've never towed anything in our lives. And also we had to quickly get a tow vehicle. So let's talk about the take home experience. This time you have, the dream Airstream you found and you now want to buy it. So now the shopping really does begin. What that looked like for us, and again, we're not certified Airstream dealer enthusiast. I'm just giving you my opinion on how this process went with us. So if you didn't know, there are a couple ways to purchase an Airstream. You can go to your dealer, you can buy it privately, you can buy it off someone. We've already discussed this before. However, we're going to be talking about buying it from a dealer. At this dealership, we could essentially finance the Airstream, which made a lot of sense for our personal life. I didn't necessarily want to drop $70,000 cash on something I wasn't for sure we were going to use that often. And the one thing about Airstreams is that they hold their value a lot, and it's not so much like buying a used car where you drive off the lot and it drops 10 to 20% in value, if not more. Airstreams really do hold their resale value, so that really made financing just kind of be the best option for us. So I already knew that we were going to finance the Airstream, so I already shopped a couple rates at some other banks, local banks, national banks. There's tons of them, Bank of America, Truist. Not every bank has a RV financing category, so I just keep that in mind. However, you can shop the rates before you even walk into the door, which is great, which is exactly what we did. However, at the dealership, much like an auto dealership, they can also shop the rate for you, and there's usually incentives to do so. Get you a lower interest rate, a lower down financing, maybe there's a sales or service special with financing. Check all those options before you sit down in the finance director's office or whatnot. We had a really pleasant experience. I believe his name was Chad at Airstream DFW. And again, all I can compare this to is to like buying a car. And no, I don't know many people like to buy cars. And I think it's mainly because of how salespeople can be. But again, at this dealership, it just wasn't like that. We sat down with Chad. He walked us through like the financing options that we were being presented. I wanted to shop, the rate that he had given us. I did shop the rate. It still was the lowest rate, which was great. It wasn't someone trying to take advantage of us. And overall, it was just a really great experience. So once we had the finance selected, basically we just continued to purchase the Airstream. So again, like buying a car, a lot of paperwork to sign. During this time, they are asking you if you want to buy an extended warranty. Do you want to add on any add-ons? Because you can roll that into your finance loan amount. So for example, if you're wanting to add solar, you want to add batteries, you want to add on Starlink connects, anything you want to add to the trailer, just remember that it's best to do that now while the trailer is there and that the service department has it, so that one, they can quickly add that on, but it can also roll into your loan payment. So that way you're not paying out of pocket for it. So luckily we did. We added on additional solar. We added on lithium-ion batteries. So all of those upgrades rolled into our lump sum purchase price, and then we financed that. So it was really nothing out of pocket. So once we had everything on the dotted line, we were ready to finance. We had our total price. We had all of our upgrades. We decided if we wanted the extended warranty or didn't in our case. Again, I would just like to say that like buying a car, like people are constantly trying to upsell us. Once we declined the extended warranty, we weren't pressed again to be like, are you sure? Are you really sure? You should, like, it just wasn't that experience. And I don't know, like, let us know in the comments if you've had similar experiences at the dealership you bought your Airstream, or if we truly was just like really genuinely blessed with Airstream at DFW. We're constantly like looking for, a new dealership, as we move throughout life, and we won't always have DFW Airstream. So let us know in the comments if that was similar to how your buying experience was at your dealership. So you just signed on the dotted line and you're now thinking, okay, let me take it home. So it doesn't always work that way. Usually they have to prep the Airstream, they clean it for you inside and out, they detail it. They make sure that all your add-ons were installed. If you did extra solar, make sure your batteries are installed. So you're not necessarily going to take the Airstream back home with you that day. Let us know in the comments if you did. We didn't because we had all the extra add-ons added on and it just wasn't ready. So eventually we signed and we went and had a couple margaritas after our major purchase. And then we went and bought a 2023 Toyota Tacoma within about 2 hours. So it was a major day of purchasing for us, and multiple margaritas were had. So again, everything is bought and paid for. Now what? So now we wait for the dealership to call us and let us know when we can pick it up. Before you leave the dealer should give you a tentative date for pickup. So luckily ours was only for about 2 weeks. It didn't really matter to us because we didn't have a tow vehicle to come pick up the Airstream, so we were fine waiting 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. However, we ended up getting the tow vehicle that day, and we reached back out to Airstream and said, hey, we can actually pick up sooner, like let us know if we can come sooner or whatnot. And we actually did. We were able to pick up the Airstream within, I think, about 7 days. So again, once you have the date, everything is paid through, financing went through, you have the date for pickup, and you're ready. You also should agree with like what next steps look at time of pickup. And Airstream with DFW was really great with that because they gave us a complete list of what to expect the day of pickup. They actually have a training program in place, which I had heard like from other Airstream dealerships, like they teach you how to use it, blah, blah, blah. And another one of our followers had told us, like, make sure you record that training because you're going to forget it. So we already knew that, that we were going to record that training. However, we didn't realize how useful or how great our training advisor was going to be. So yeah, our training advisor was really great. He showed us absolutely how to use every single component of our new Airstream base camp, whether it was inside, the black tank flush, all of their tips and their tricks and how to inflate a tire, how to take the tire out. Like, we were completely overloaded and definitely overstimulated, and I was so glad that we literally recorded the entire thing, which he had no problems of doing. And it was just like a really great experience. And like I said, like this was probably one of our most anxious days because we've never towed anything in our life, and having some assurance of knowing like, okay, we know how to use it was like kind of checking the box of like, okay, we're not going to completely break this. However, at the end of the day, we are, being kicked out of the nest and we are taking our Airstream home. So not only did they show us like how to use the base camp inside and out, all of its functionalities, but they also like gave us a like 1-hour training on hitching and, showed us how to use our proper hitch, how to, what the chains do. Like it was invaluable at the time because we didn't have anyone teaching us how to do that. And what we've learned is that if you don't do these things hands-on, you might not remember. So like, 1, always record them, and 2, try to be as present in the moment as possible so that you can absorb the information. But again, it's almost impossible, and that's why I really wanted to create these videos for you to save, playlist, rewatch, because I know that this is like elementary style learning, but we desperately needed this. And if I would have had this, when we first got the Airstream, I probably wouldn't have been so stressed with like, what's gonna happen? Like, is it gonna break or what are we gonna do? And it would have allowed me more time to get out in the open and go camping. Okay guys, wrapping up your first Airstream Beginner Basics Bootcamp Edition episode on how to buy an Airstream. I'm Evan. I hope this video was insightful. I hope it helps literally just anyone, kind of ease their nerves about how to buy an Airstream, what the process was like for us. If you have questions, shoot us a message, comment, whatever you want. Like, we're just here to help. Again, like, we have a ton of this knowledge from the last couple years, and it's doing nothing if we're not sharing it. We hope that you found the video useful. If you did, share it, like it. Please subscribe to our channel. We love doing videos like this. Anything that we can do to help get you on the road faster, safer, and happier. And we'll see you on our next episode of Airstream Beginner Basics Bootcamp.